Now we're going to start our site setup. Now usually you're going to have something in mind, or you may have a client that is giving you some specifications. Here's some specifications that we're going to use for this site. The site is a review site on trucks and SUVs. So now we got to think about how to set up the sections and the categories. And then of course in the categories go the articles. So our sections, we'll just have a section for trucks and a section for SUVs. And then in our categories, and this will be under trucks, we'll have half ton, and then 3/4 ton, and then we could have larger trucks. Okay, and then under SUVs, now we could use some of the same categories you want, or we can have different categories. So again, we will use half and 3/4 ton. And then maybe we'll have another one called crossover. Okay, so we'll use these as our specs. Now these are real world specs. Now let's turn that into a site. So the first thing we're going to want to do is set up our sections. We'll set up a section for trucks and we'll set up a section for SUVs. So let's go to Section Manager. And what we're going to do here is add a new one. So click New. Okay, and then we'll set up our sections. We have trucks. And then we can decide what the access level is going to be. It can either be for the public or for registered users or for a special. So what we're going to do is we're going to leave it for public because in this case we want everybody to be able to see this information. Okay, we could also add an image on here if we wanted to. And then we can give it more description down here if we're so inclined. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll save this. And then we'll add another section. Call this one SUVs. Okay, again, public access. Save. Okay, so now we have trucks and SUVs. Next thing we need to do is go and do our categories. Okay, so we can bring up our specs. So we're going to have half ton, 3/4 ton, larger, and crossover are going to be our 4 categories. Half ton. Okay, and then section, we pick our section. So our section is going to be trucks. And again, public access, we have the same things here where we can either do our image if we want to have an image in here, and then we can also put some more description down here if we wanted to. Now let's save. And then we'll add another one. Three-quarter ton. Save. A new one. And this will be our crossover was for SUVs. then add another one. And this time we want larger. And this is for trucks. And then we also have to set up 1/2 ton and 3/4 ton for SUVs. Okay, so we'll add those as well. Okay, so now we have our sections all set up and our categories all set up within those sections. At this point, what we can do is we can start adding our articles that go inside the different categories. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw a couple of articles in each section and each category so that you can see a little bit easier how to set the site up. If there's no data in there, it's a little harder to see what's going on. So I'm going to swipe some articles from a few places just for demonstration purposes, and then we'll continue from there. We'll go to Content, and then Article Manager. Then what we want to do is we want to add a new article. Okay, in here we give it an article title, and then we got to pick our section. So the first one we're going to do is on trucks. And then what we want to do is pick the category, 1/2, 3/4, or larger. So this one will be on a 1/2 ton truck. Then we simply put our review inside the box here. Put the title in here. And then we have over here some advanced things we can set. You can set the publish date. We can set some advanced parameters here, and you can set any of these the way you want. We won't go into that too much. It's pretty self-explanatory. And then our metadata information. This is where you can make it search engine friendly by giving your description down here and the keywords. So we can do that. We can say our title will be our description and our first keyword. And then you can comma separate any other keywords you want to put in there. Once we're all done with that, we can just save it. Okay, there's our first article published. And then we go on with adding all of our other articles, and I'll go ahead and do that. And then we'll come back and start with the site design. Okay, so I've gone ahead and entered some articles. Now, if we go in and look at these articles, we'll start with this one. You notice that there's no pictures in here. Now, there are two ways to add pictures. You could either do it inside the editor by linking to a web location, just like this, and you put the URL here, and then you could put other information in here as well, where you want it to be aligned and all of this other stuff here, and there's some advanced functions here as well. Now you can either do it that way, or you can use what's called the Media Manager. And to do that, you can go into Image down here, and it brings up the images that are currently in Joomla. You could also put the image URL in here if you wanted to do it that way. You can give it the image description and a title. Down here you have Upload, and if you click Browse Files, it is supposed to bring you up a little box where you can browse your computer and do the usual upload thing. However, there seems to be a bug in this version that I'm using right now, so I'm not going to be able to do that. But normally you would be able to upload a file, and then you would be able to get it from inside here. Just click on the one you want to use and upload it. Now I'm going to do a workaround here in case you have the same bug, and I'm just going to create a folder in my using my cPanel and File Manager, or by using FTP Client. I think I'll use FTP to do it, so that I can show you how to upload your own images, and then you can access them from here, even if the actual uploading is broken. Okay, so here we are in FileZilla, and on the right hand side over here, this is where I installed my Joomla. I installed it in Joomla Test. What I want to do is go into here into Images, and then I'm going to want to go into Stories. Double click in there, and then in here I'm going to want to create a new directory. So I'll just right click, create directory, then I'm going to call it Trucks and SUVs. Now keep in mind I'm only doing this because there seems to be a bug in Joomla in this version I'm using right now. Normally you'd be able to just upload it right from the page we were on or from the Media Manager, which I'll show you in a second. So I'm going to trucks and SUVs. Then I'll get all the pictures off of the other side that I want to upload. Click upload. Now I'll go back over here and we're looking at the Ford Edge right now. So what I'll do is put the cursor there. Click on image. Okay, there's our trucks and SUVs directory. And oh, I didn't upload a Ford Edge. I better upload the image there. Okay, there we go. Click insert. And there is our image from our Media Manager. And we can save that one. And the Chevy Silverado as well. Okay, save. Okay, so that's how you can get images in there. Now, real quickly, let's just go over to the Media Manager. So Site, Media Manager, and then you'll see under Stories here I have Trucks and SUVs. Under Stories I have Trucks and SUVs, and here are the pictures that I have in there, and I can delete them just by clicking on the delete thing here. And normally, again, I should be able to hit browse files and I should get a box that comes up, browse them on a computer and upload them. However, it doesn't seem to be working. So that's why I did that shortcut. I just wanted to show you the Media Manager so you know that you can create images underneath the stories here, and then you can use those images in your articles and in your categories and in your sections. Now let's go to the Section Manager and do the same thing here. Put an image in here, so we'll click on image, and then we'll go in here and we'll click truck, and then we'll save. And then we'll do the same thing with SUVs. Image, SUV, save. Okay, so that's how we get images on our relevant parts of our page. In the next video, we will start laying out the way our site's going to look.